The massive alien ship hung in Earth's orbit like a gleaming silver mountain. News stations across the planet showed nothing else. People stood in streets, watched from rooftops, and gathered in homes, all eyes turned skyward. After centuries of wondering, humanity finally had its answer. We were not alone. Admiral James Wilson straightened his navy blue uniform as the transport shuttle approached the alien vessel. Through the viewport, he could see the ship's true size. It dwarfed anything humans had ever built. His 5-person team sat silently, each lost in their own thoughts about what waited inside. 2 minutes to docking, the pilot announced. Wilson nodded and looked at Dr. Eliza Reed, Earth's leading physicist. Remember, we represent all of humanity today. Reed's dark eyes met his. No pressure then, she said with a small smile. The shuttle slowed as it approached a glowing blue opening in the silver hull. With a soft bump and hiss of air, they docked. "Welcome to the Galactic Council diplomatic vessel," came a voice in perfect English. "Please proceed through the airlock." The team exchanged glances. The aliens had already learned their language. The meeting chamber was huge, with a circular table surrounded by 12 seats. 7 were filled with beings so different from each other that Wilson had to force himself not to stare. Some looked almost human, others like nothing he could have imagined. A tall, blue-skinned being stood. "I am High Counselor Morrow of the Galactic Council. We welcome Earth to the greater community of spacefaring civilizations." For 4 hours, the Council explained their organization. Formed 50,000 years ago, the Council governed trade, territory, and technology sharing between 217 species across the galaxy. They had been watching Earth for centuries, waiting until humans developed faster than light travel before making contact. "You have joined us at an interesting time," said Morrow. "Your species shows great promise." Wilson noticed the way some council members exchanged looks. Something felt off. "We would like to offer Earth Protectorate status," continued Morrow. "This means we will guide your development and protect you from threats until you are ready for full membership." "And what does Protectorate status mean for our independence?" asked Wilson. A reptilian being with golden scales leaned forward. "It means certain restrictions on expansion and military development. For your own safety, of course." This was Counselor Tarn of the Vex, his voice cold and clinical. "We need time to consider this offer," Wilson replied. "Of course," said Morrow. "You have much to learn about galactic politics." Back on the shuttle, Reed was unusually quiet. "What's bothering you, Doctor?" Wilson asked once they were alone. Reed looked up from her datapad. "Did you notice how advanced their ships are? The energy readings I took secretly." She showed him the screen. "They're using something like dark matter for power. It's centuries beyond what we have. Or what they think we have," Wilson said thoughtfully. 3 months passed. Earth's governments formed a united front to deal with the Council. Wilson became Earth's official representative, traveling regularly to Council space. With each visit, he learned more, and liked what he learned less. "They see us as children," he told Reed during a secure meeting at the underwater research facility in the Pacific. "Bright, promising children, but children nonetheless." Reed nodded. "And some of them see us as potential threats. I've been analyzing the technology they shared. It's advanced, but selectively so. They're holding back the important stuff." Wilson paced the small room. "I overheard 2 junior council members talking. They don't realize how good our translation technology has become. They mentioned something called the Containment Protocol." "What's that?" "A system for keeping younger species from developing too quickly. They're afraid of us, Eliza." Reed was quiet for a moment. "They should be," she finally said. "Show me what you've learned about their ships." 1 year after first contact, Earth accepted Protectorate status. The public celebration masked private concerns among Earth's leadership. The Council had placed strict limits on human expansion beyond the solar system, citing safety concerns. Wilson stood at the window of his office in the newly built Council embassy in Geneva. A Vex cruiser patrolled Earth's orbit for protection. Is secure phone buzzed? It was Reed. We've had a breakthrough, she said without greeting. Project Dark Star. I need you at the moon base tomorrow. The hidden facility beneath the lunar surface was Earth's most secret location. As Wilson entered the main lab, Reed waved him over to a glowing containment chamber. This is it, she said, her face lit by the swirling black-purple energy inside the chamber. Pure dark matter, captured and contained. The Council uses a crude version for power, but we've discovered something they haven't. Wilson looked at the strange substance. What's that? It doesn't just generate power, it can fold space-time. Another scientist approached. Dr. Reed, the simulation is ready. On a large screen, they watched as a computer model showed a ship vanishing from one point in space and instantly appearing at another. No warp drive, no hyperspace, just folding space like paper, Reed explained. And there's more. The energy signature is nearly undetectable. A ship using this technology would be invisible to Council sensors. Wilson stared at the simulation, his mind racing. How long until we could build a working prototype? 3 years, maybe 2 with additional funding. Wilson nodded slowly. You'll have it. The Council has underestimated us, Doctor. They think we're just learning to walk, but we're about to learn how to fly. He turned to face her. Keep this absolutely secret. Tell no one outside this facility. What are you planning, Admiral? Wilson looked back at the swirling dark matter. The Council wants to keep us contained, controlled. They've seen what humans have done on Earth. Our wars, our mistakes. They're afraid we'll bring chaos to their ordered galaxy. He straightened his shoulders. Maybe they're right to be afraid. Start building ships, Doctor. Small ones at first. The Council forbids military vessel development beyond our current technology level, Reed reminded him. Then we won't tell them, Wilson said firmly. Earth needs this advantage. The day will come when the Council realizes we won't stay in our corner of the galaxy. When that day comes, we need to be ready. As he left the moon base, Wilson looked up at the stars. The galaxy was vast, filled with ancient civilizations and wonders beyond imagination. Humanity deserved its place among them, not as children, but as equals. The Council had made first contact expecting to find another species to guide and control. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant. 10 years passed since first contact. On the surface, Earth embraced its role in the Galactic Council. Alien technology improved human lives. Trade brought new foods and medicines. Council ships became a common sight in Earth's skies. But deep beneath the lunar surface, hidden from Council sensors, humanity worked in secret. Admiral Wilson, now with gray at his temples, stood before a massive viewport. Beyond the radiation-shielded glass lay the largest hidden shipyard in the solar system, carved into an asteroid in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. Project Umbra is ahead of schedule, reported Dr. Reed, walking up beside him. The years had been kind to her, though fine lines marked the corners of her eyes, signs of a decade of secret work. Wilson nodded. Show me. They walked through security doors to the main construction bay. Suspended in the center, surrounded by construction drones, hung a sleek black vessel unlike any in Earth's public fleet. No external lights marked its surface. Its hull absorbed light rather than reflected it. The Phantom, Reed said with pride. Our first true dark matter warship. How many people know about this facility? Wilson asked. 200 engineers and scientists, 50 security personnel. The Earth Union Defense Council. No one else. Wilson approached a control panel and pressed his palm against it. The 3D hologram appeared, showing the ship's internal systems. The dark matter core, he asked. Reed pointed to a swirling purple-black sphere at the center of the hologram. Stable and twice as powerful as our simulations predicted. The ship can fold space-time in microseconds. It can jump from Earth to Mars instantly, with no detectable energy signature. And weapons? Gravitic beams. They don't fire energy. They manipulate gravity itself. They can tear a Council cruiser apart from the inside with no visible attack. Wilson's eyes narrowed. Perfect. On Council Station Prime, the largest space structure ever built, Krell adjusted his breathing apparatus. As a water-breathing Mergen, he found the dry air of the station uncomfortable. But his job as head of Council security meant discomfort was part of the work. "Ambassador Wilson will see you now," said the human assistant. Krell entered the human's office. Wilson stood to greet him, showing respect for Krell's higher rank. "Counselor Krell, this is unexpected." Krell's large eyes blinked slowly. "I apologize for the intrusion, Ambassador. I have concerns. Please sit." Wilson gestured to a chair designed for Mergen anatomy. Krell settled his long body. "Our monitoring systems have detected anomalies in your solar system, energy fluctuations that match no known pattern." Wilson's face remained calm. "Our sun has been particularly active this cycle. Perhaps that's the cause." "Perhaps." Krell paused. "Yet these fluctuations occur most often near your asteroid belt, not your sun. We have mining operations throughout the belt. The new fusion drives might explain the readings." Krell studied the human. After 10 years of interaction with the species, he'd learned to read their expressions. Wilson was hiding something. "There are whispers, Ambassador. Some on the Council fear humanity is developing beyond the approved technological paths." Wilson smiled. "The Council has been very generous with sharing technology. We're grateful students. Are you?" Krell leaned forward. "I studied your species' history, Wilson. Humans don't remain students for long." Captain Mike Foster felt sweat trickle down his back as the Phantom prepared for its first real test. Training simulations were one thing. Actually folding space was another. "Dark matter core at full capacity," reported his navigator, Lieutenant Annabelle. "All systems green," added Weapons Officer Tom Grant. Foster took a deep breath. "Execute jump." The ship hummed. The view screen showed stars around them, then blackness for a split second, then different stars. "Jump complete," Bell said, her voice steady despite the historic moment. "We're exactly at the target coordinates, 600 million kilometers in an instant." Foster allowed himself a smile. "Any sign we were detected?" Grant checked his instruments. "None. Council patrol vessels in the area show no change in course or alert status." "Let's see what this ship can really do," Foster said. "Set course for the outer edge of Neptune's orbit. We're going to push the engines." For 6 hours, they tested the Phantom's capabilities. It could jump accurately to any point in the solar system. Its gravitic sensors could detect ships on the other side of the sun. And most importantly, it remained completely invisible to Council technology. As they returned to the hidden shipyard, Foster knew this changed everything. Humanity was no longer at the Council's mercy. "We need more time," Reed argued in the secure conference room beneath Geneva. Earth's leaders had gathered to hear reports on Project Umbra. "The Council grows more suspicious," countered Defense Minister Garcia. Krell's visit to Wilson wasn't coincidence. Wilson cleared his throat. "The Phantom's test was successful. We know the technology works, but one ship isn't enough." "How many do we need?" asked the Earth Union president. Reed displayed a hologram showing ship designs. "We've begun construction on 5 more vessels like the Phantom. But we've also designed larger warships capable of carrying multiple jump drives." She pointed to a massive black ship. "This is the Eclipse. It could face an entire Council fleet." "And how long until the Eclipse is ready?" asked the president. 8 months, if we accelerate production." Wilson stood. "The Council limitation treaties expire in 10 months. They'll want to renew them, with even stricter terms. I say we wait, build our fleet in secret, and then negotiate from a position of strength." The president nodded slowly. "Build your ships, Admiral, but maintain absolute secrecy." Counselor Tarn reviewed Krell's report with growing anger. The reptilian Vex had never trusted humans. Too unpredictable, too adaptable. These energy readings, he hissed to his aide. They matched theoretical patterns for advanced dark matter manipulation. Impossible, the aide replied. Humans are centuries from such technology. Unless they're receiving help. Tarn's golden eyes narrowed. Increase surveillance on Earth. Place tracking devices on all trade vessels. I want to know what they're hiding. Back in the asteroid shipyard, Foster watched as construction drones swarmed over the hull of a new dark matter ship. Captain, Reed called as she entered the observation deck. Tomorrow we begin crew training for the other Phantom-class vessels. Foster nodded. My pilots are ready, but are we preparing for defense or attack? Reed studied the growing fleet below. Both, Captain. The Council won't give up control easily, but we don't seek war, just equality. And if they don't offer equality? Reed turned to him, her expression hard. Then we take it. Beyond them, in the darkness of the asteroid hangar, the black hulls of humanity's secret fleet absorbed all light, waiting for the moment they would emerge from shadow and change the galaxy forever. The Grand Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Wilson finished speaking. His proposal for expanded human settlement rights hung in the air like a challenge. Ambitious, remarked High Counselor Morrow after a long pause. Perhaps too ambitious for a species still under protectorate status. Wilson kept his face neutral. Earth's population has grown. Our people need room to expand. Counselor Tarn stood, his golden scales catching the light. The Vex Dominion opposes any expansion of human territory. His cold eyes fixed on Wilson. In fact, we believe current restrictions should be tightened. Whispers spread through the chamber. Wilson noticed several council members nodding in agreement with Tarn. The treaties expire in 2 months, Wilson reminded them. Earth expects a more equitable arrangement in the new agreements. Expects. Tarn's voice was dangerous. You are not in a position to make demands, Ambassador. As Wilson left the chamber, Krell approached him. The Mersian security chief looked troubled. That was unwise, Krell said softly. Tarn has been gathering support against Earth. Wilson slowed his pace. What do you mean? There are rumors of illegal technology development in your system. Tarn has convinced many that humans are becoming a security threat. Rumors without evidence, Wilson replied calmly. Krell's large eyes blinked slowly. An inspection team is being formed. They will visit Earth next week. Wilson's heart raced, but his expression remained unchanged. We have nothing to hide. They're sending inspectors, Wilson told the emergency meeting of Earth's Defense Council. They'll arrive in 6 days. President Harris removed her glasses. Can they detect the shipyards? Dr. Reed shook her head. The asteroid bases are shielded against all known Council scanning technology, but a physical inspection would discover them. Then we make sure they don't inspect those areas, said Defense Minister Garcia. We guide them to approved facilities only. Wilson paced the room. This is just the beginning. Tarn is building a case against us. I believe he's planning military action. Our fleet isn't ready, Reed said. We have 6 Phantom-class ships operational. The Eclipse is at 80% completion. Foster, recently promoted to Admiral of Earth's Secret Fleet, spoke up. The Phantom Squadron is combat-ready. We can defend Earth if needed. President Harris looked around the table. Options. We reveal our fleet, suggested Garcia. Show strength and force negotiation. That would confirm their fears and justify immediate action against us, countered Wilson. Reed tapped her datapad. What if we move the fleet? Hide it deeper in the solar system until the inspection is over. Foster nodded. Neptune's rings could mask our energy signatures. Do it, ordered the president, and accelerate work on the Eclipse. I want our flagship ready. The Council inspection team spent 2 weeks examining Earth's facilities. They visited lunar bases, Mars colonies, and orbital stations. Wilson personally guided them, showing only what Earth wanted them to see. On the final day, the head inspector, a tall insect-like being named Vrex, delivered their preliminary findings. "We've found no evidence of prohibited technology," Vrex stated. "However, there are unexplained energy readings throughout your system. Our sun has been unusually active," Wilson explained, repeating the cover story. Vrex's antennae twitched. "Perhaps. Our final report will be delivered to the Council next week." As the inspection ship departed, Wilson contacted Foster. Status: fleet safely hidden in Neptune's atmosphere. No detection. Maintain position until further notice. 1 week later, the Council reconvened. Wilson took his seat just as Tarn entered with a delegation of military advisors. High Counselor Morrow opened the session. "The inspection report shows no direct evidence of prohibited technology. However, questions remain about energy anomalies in the human system." Tarn stood immediately. "The inspectors were deliberately missiled. My intelligence sources confirm humans are developing advanced dark matter technology." Gasps filled the chamber. Dark matter manipulation was permitted only for species with full Council membership. "These accusations have no proof," Wilson stated firmly. Tarn's eyes narrowed to slits. "The Vex Dominion has intercepted communications between your hidden facilities. We know of your warship program." Wilson felt cold dread. Had they been discovered? "In light of this threat," Tarn continued, "I propose immediate action. Earth must submit to full Council control of all military and research facilities." Morrow raised a hand. "That is a serious step, Counselor. One necessary for galactic security," Tarn insisted. "I have prepared a formal ultimatum." A holographic document appeared before each Council member. Wilson read it with growing anger. The demands would effectively end Earth's independence. "Earth rejects these terms," Wilson said, rising to his feet. "Then the Council must act," Tarn replied. "I move that we authorize military intervention." The chamber erupted in debate. Wilson used the distraction to send an encrypted message to Earth. "Ultimatum delivered. Prepare to OMTINGNCIs." Dr. Reed stared at the message on her screen. "It's happening," she told Foster. The Admiral nodded grimly. "Orders: maintain position, but move to alert status. Be ready to deploy on my command." In the main laboratory beneath Lunar Base Alpha, Reed approached the secure communication terminal. The time had come for a difficult decision. Wilson stood alone in his Council quarters, watching the stars through his viewport. His secure communicator chimed. "Wilson, it's Reed." The Council voted. "They're still debating, but Tarn has significant support. Our intelligence indicates a Vex battle fleet is already moving toward Sol. Size: 20 capital ships, dozens of support vessels." A long pause. "The Eclipse is ready," Reed finally said. Wilson closed his eyes. "You finished it. Final systems came online yesterday. It's the most powerful ship humans have ever built." "What about the true beat?" "Still theoretical. We need more time." Wilson made his decision. "Recall Foster's fleet from Neptune. Position the Eclipse at the edge of the solar system. If the Vex fleet enters our territory, we show them what we've built." "That will start a war," Reed warned. "No," Wilson said firmly. "It will prevent one. The Council needs to see we won't be conquered or controlled." Foster stood on the bridge of the Phantom, watching Neptune's swirling clouds through the viewscreen. His squadron of 6 advanced ships had been hiding here for weeks. "Admiral," his communications officer called. "Priority message from command." Foster read the orders. "Alert all ships. Prepare to jump to Sol system border." As the crew readied the dark matter drives, Foster opened a channel to the Eclipse. On his screen appeared Captain Lisa West, commander of humanity's flagship. "You've received the orders?" Foster asked. West nodded. Her ship was hidden in the rings of Saturn. "The Eclipse is ready. What do you think will happen when the Council sees our fleet?" Foster checked the latest intelligence reports. The Vex fleet was 2 days from Earth, either the beginning of a new era of respect for humanity, or the start of a war. And if it's war. Foster thought of the weapons systems Reeve had installed on their ships, technologies the Council had never seen before. Then they'll learn why picking a fight with humans was a mistake. The dark matter drives powered up, creating their distinctive purple glow. Foster gave the order. Jump. In an instant, the ships vanished from Neptune's clouds, ready to meet the approaching threat and change the course of galactic history. The Vex battle fleet moved through space in perfect formation. 20 massive warships, each nearly a mile long, surrounded by smaller attack vessels. Their hulls gleamed with a golden-green metallic shine that had become feared throughout the galaxy. On the command deck of the flagship, War Commander Shen watched the holographic display of the Sol system growing larger. Earth was just hours away. Status report, Shen ordered, his scaled hand tapping against the arm of his command chair. All ships at battle readiness, his second-in-command reported. Human defenses show only standard orbital platforms. Their fleet consists of outdated cruisers and frigates. Shen's forked tongue flicked out briefly, a sign of satisfaction among the Vex. Pathetic. Councillor Tarn was right to worry about their ambition, but wrong about their capabilities. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Earth. Ignore it, Shen said dismissively. They will beg for mercy or threaten us with their tiny ships. Neither is worth my time. The fleet continued forward, passing the orbit of Mars. Sir, the sensor officer called suddenly. I'm detecting an energy spike near the system edge. Shen leaned forward. Source. Unknown. It appeared and then vanished. The war commander frowned. A sensor malfunction. Before the officer could answer, alerts blared across the command deck. Multiple contacts, shouted the sensor officer. They're everywhere. The holographic display showed 7 black ships appearing and disappearing around the Vex fleet. They blinked into existence, moved position, and vanished again, seemingly at random. Impossible, whispered Shen. No ship can move that fast. Admiral Foster sat calmly in the command chair of the Phantom. Around him, his crew operated with focused precision. Jump complete, reported Lieutenant Bell. We're 50 kilometers off the Vex flagship's port side. Hold position for 10 seconds, Foster ordered. Let them get a good look at us. The Phantom hung in space, its black hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. The ship looked like a hole in reality itself. Counting down. Mark. Ready for next jump. Foster nodded. Execute pattern Alpha. All ships coordinate jumps. Across the void, the 6 other Phantom-class vessels and the massive Eclipse carried out the same maneuver. They appeared around the Vex fleet, held position just long enough to be detected, then vanished again, only to reappear elsewhere. It was a carefully choreographed dance meant to demonstrate their capabilities without firing a single shot. On Council Station Prime, the emergency session had been called as soon as the Vex fleet reported contact with unknown vessels. The chamber's main display showed the bewildering scene. Black ships appearing and disappearing throughout the Vex formation. What are we seeing? Demanded High Counselor Morrow. Ambassador Wilson stood calmly before the Council. You are witnessing humanity's response to threats against our sovereignty. Those ships, Krell said, his voice filled with disbelief. They're using dark matter drives to fold space-time. Impossible, Tarn hissed. Such technology is beyond humans. Wilson smiled thinly. Perhaps you've underestimated us. War Commander Shen had never felt fear in battle before, but watching these black ships appear and disappear at will around his fleet, he felt the cold grip of uncertainty. Target the nearest vessel and fire, he ordered. Energy weapons lanced out from 3 Vex destroyers. They struck empty space where a human ship had been just seconds before. They're too fast, his weapons officer reported. We can't lock on. Sir, called the communications officer, we're receiving a targeted transmission from one of the vessels. It identifies itself as Earth Ship Eclipse. Shen hesitated, then nodded. Put it through. A human female appeared on the main screen. War Commander Shen, I am Captain Lisa West of the Earth Defense Force. Your fleet has entered sovereign Earth space without authorization. We have Council approval for this security operation, Shen replied coldly. The Council does not speak for Earth, West stated firmly. You will halt your advance immediately or face consequences. Shen laughed, showing sharp teeth. Your ships are impressive, human, but my fleet carries enough firepower to reduce your planet to ash. West's expression didn't change. You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation. It's a demonstration. The screen went dark. Moments later, alarms blared throughout the ship. Sir, our weapon systems are shutting down. Restore them, Shen roared. I can't. Something is interfering with the gravity fields in our accelerators. More alerts sounded as reports came in from across the fleet. Ship after ship reported weapons failures, engine malfunctions, and power fluctuations. On the display, the Eclipse reappeared directly in front of Shen's flagship. The massive black vessel was twice the size of any human ship the Vex had ever encountered. It hung in space like a silent threat. We detected your fleet 3 days ago. West's voice came through the comm system. We've been studying your ship's systems since then. Your gravitic technology is particularly vulnerable to our countermeasures. Shen stared at the display in shock. His mighty fleet, disabled without a single shot fired. In the council chamber, silence had fallen as they watched the scene unfold. The Vex fleet, one of the most powerful in the galaxy, rendered helpless by technology the council had believed impossible for humans. Wilson stepped forward. The demonstration is complete. As you can see, Earth is capable of defending itself. But we have no desire for conflict. What do you want? Asked Morrow, his voice subdued. Recognition, equality, the end of protectorate status, and full membership in the council. Tarn rose from his seat, eyes blazing. This is blackmail. You developed forbidden technology in secret, technology you kept from us, Wilson countered. The Council has controlled the development of young species for thousands of years, sharing only what you wished, keeping the rest for yourselves. Humanity chose a different path. Krell studied Wilson with new respect. You knew the Vex would push for military action. You were prepared all along. Wilson nodded. Earth has 6 operational Phantom-class vessels capable of instantaneous interstellar travel. We have the Eclipse, our first dark matter battleship, and we have more under construction. You would threaten the Council with war? Asked an elder member. No, Wilson said firmly. We threaten the Council with peace, on equal terms. Foster watched as the disabled Vex fleet hung motionless in space. Captain West had carried out the operation perfectly. The gravitic disruptors had targeted the Vex ship's weapons and engines without harming any crew. Admiral, called his communications officer. Message from Ambassador Wilson. The Council is in emergency session. Foster nodded. Tell the squadron to maintain positions. Keep the gravitic disruptors active. He turned to look at the main display, where the Earth hung small and blue in the distance. For 10 years, humanity had prepared for this moment. Not for war, but for the day they would take their rightful place among the stars. His communicator chimed with a private message from Dr. Reed. The true beat is ready. Proceed to Phase 2. Foster smiled. The demonstration of power had been impressive. But what came next would truly change the galaxy forever. 1 month after the confrontation with the Vex fleet, the Galactic Council remained in chaos. Species that had worked together for thousands of years now viewed each other with suspicion. Some demanded access to dark matter technology. Others called for humanity's immediate punishment. Alliance lines were being drawn across the stars. In Earth's lunar laboratory, Dr. Reed worked tirelessly alongside her team. The room hummed with energy as she adjusted settings on a massive device at its center. A sphere of swirling purple-black energy contained within crystalline chambers. Status, she asked her chief assistant. The resonance is stable. Wave patterns match our predictions. Reed nodded and stepped back to observe the readouts. The True Beat is ready for full activation. Admiral Wilson entered the lab, his face showing the strain of endless diplomatic meetings. The Council remains divided. Half want to declare war on us. The other half want to ally with us. And Tarn? Reed asked. Building support for military action. 3 species have already joined the Vex in calling for our containment. Wilson moved closer to the sphere. Is this really going to work? Reed's eyes reflected the purple glow of the dark matter. In theory, we've tested it at short range successfully, but never at galactic scale. No, she admitted, but the mathematics are sound. When dark matter folds space-time, it creates ripples, vibrations that travel through the fabric of reality itself. We call it the True Beat. Wilson stared at the sphere. And this device can control those vibrations. Control them, shape them, and use them as a carrier wave for data. Reed smiled slightly. Instant communication across any distance with no possibility of interception. The Council would kill for this technology, Wilson said quietly, which is why we're not giving it to them. Reed checked the final calculations on her tablet. We're sharing it with everyone. Aboard the Eclipse, Captain West and Admiral Foster prepared for their mission. The massive ship had been modified, its dark matter core enhanced to new power levels. All systems check complete, West reported. The transmitter is installed and functioning. Foster nodded. We'll jump to the coordinates in 1 hour. Dr. Reed will activate the True Beat from Luna Base as soon as we're in position. The ship's officers gathered for a final briefing. Foster looked at each of them, humans who had trained in secret for years, preparing for this moment. What we do today will change everything, he told them. For millennia, the Council has controlled the flow of information, technology, and resources across the galaxy. Species remain isolated from each other, except through approved channels. He brought up a galactic map showing thousands of inhabited systems. Today, that changes. The True Beat will connect all worlds, all peoples, directly. No more gatekeepers, no more secrecy. West stood beside him. Some on the Council will see this as an act of war, but we believe most ordinary beings across the galaxy will welcome the gift we're offering. Foster nodded. Humanity spent thousands of years divided by barriers of distance and language. We know the cost of separation. We also know the power of connection. On Council Station Prime, the emergency session had been running for days without resolution. Ambassador Wilson had just finished addressing the chamber when alarms began sounding throughout the station. What's happening? Demanded High Counselor Morrow. A technician rushed in. Sir, we've detected a massive dark matter signature near the galactic core. It's the human vessel Eclipse. The main screen showed the black ship hovering near the supermassive black hole at the galaxy's center. What are they doing? Tarn hissed. That region is restricted to all vessels. Wilson stepped forward calmly. The Eclipse is in position to deliver a message to the entire galaxy. Impossible, said Krell. Even our best communication technology requires relay stations. No single ship could broadcast across such distances. Wilson smiled. We're not using your technology. On the Eclipse, Foster gave the final order. Activate the True Beat transmitter. The ship's dark matter core pulsed with new energy. Around them, space itself seemed to vibrate slightly as invisible waves began to spread outward. Transmitter at full power, reported West, sending the activation signal to Luna Base. In her laboratory, Reed received the signal. It's time, she told her team. She entered the final command sequence into her console. The swirling sphere of dark matter at the center of the lab began to pulse in a steady rhythm. With each pulse, waves of energy spread outward, invisible but powerful. The True Beat is active, Reed announced, beginning primary transmission. Across the galaxy, on hundreds of thousands of worlds, something extraordinary happened. Every communication device, from the most primitive radio to the most advanced quantum transmitter, began receiving the same signal. In every language, the message was the same. Greetings to all intelligent beings of the galaxy. We are humanity of Earth. Today, we share with you the true beat, a method of instant communication across any distance. The technical specifications follow this message. This technology belongs to no one species or government. It is our gift to all. As the message played, technical data streamed to every world, the complete plans for building true beat receivers and transmitters. In the council chamber, chaos erupted as reports flooded in from member worlds. Wilson stood calmly in the center of the storm. "What have you done?" Morrow asked, his voice barely audible above the uproar. "We've made it impossible for any one group to control the flow of information," Wilson replied. "The true beat cannot be blocked, jammed, or restricted. It belongs to everyone now." Tarn rose from his seat, eyes blazing with fury. "This is an act of war. You've undermined the very foundation of council authority." "No," Wilson countered. "We've created the foundation for something better. For thousands of years, the council has kept younger species dependent and isolated. That ends today." Krell studied Wilson thoughtfully. "You never wanted war. You wanted to force change." Wilson nodded. "Humanity spent too much of its own history divided by borders and barriers. We won't accept those limitations among the stars." 6 months later, Wilson stood on the observation deck of the new Earth Embassy on Council Station Prime. The station had been redesigned, expanded to accommodate representatives from dozens of species that had never had a voice before. Reed joined him at the viewport. "The true beat receivers have spread to over 60% of known worlds," she reported. "New alliances are forming every day. And the council? Changing. The old power structures are falling away. Tarn and his supporters have formed their own faction, but they're increasingly isolated." Below them, the new Galactic Alliance chamber was taking shape, larger, more open, designed for true collaboration rather than control. "Was it worth the risk?" Reed asked quietly. Wilson watched as ships from 100 worlds moved through the station's docking areas. Species that had never met now trading, talking, sharing. "For thousands of years, the Council feared what humanity might become," he said. "They were right to be afraid, but not for the reasons they thought." In the distance, the Eclipse prepared to depart on its latest diplomatic mission. Its black hull now bore the symbol of the new alliance, a pattern of ripples spreading outward, like the invisible waves of the true beat itself. "Our dark matter ships gave us the power to defend ourselves," Wilson continued. "But the true beat gave the galaxy something more important." "What's that?" asked Reed. Wilson smiled as he watched new worlds connect for the first time. "A future without fear. A future where no voice is silenced. The true potential of all species together." The true beat continued its silent rhythm, connecting billions of beings across countless stars. Humanity's greatest gift to a galaxy that had feared them, but would now never be the same.